Greetings, Space Cadets, and welcome for another journey among the stars. I am your captain, Captain Grant Knight, as we journey into continuing talking about if, else, if, and conditional logic. Today is April 7th, 2020, and let's start. Okay, that's the bit for today. So how can we practice or, and, not in complex if-else statements? We're just putting into practice the other parts that you've seen in video notes and that we talked a little bit about on Friday. Yesterday, Monday, you were able to practice if-else if. And see that it's not that bad. It just gets a little weird. I didn't have office hours yesterday. I will have them today in case you have you want to prepare for the quiz that'll be tomorrow. It'll be, the quiz will have some things on like the Google question of translating a sentence into logic. Nothing more complicated than this one. Not as complicated as Friday, I would think. Something of, it won't entirely be multiple choice this time. I understand a little bit more how Google quizzes can work. And yeah, so I'll have office hours. Period 1, you can go to either, both periods, you can go to either the morning, the 8:15 session, or the 12 or 1:30 session. Yeah, I think I may not do office hours every day. They tend not to be many people that would show up to them, which is fine. But I may use that time instead to reach out to specific people and ask if you could attend or if you want to attend. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have Google question due by 5. Code Studio that'll be due by 10. I'm going to walk through 10, 11. Though you'll actually find that it's not that bad. 15 is a little tricky, so I'll talk about that one. 13 and 14, I think you can definitely handle on your own. Yeah, quiz tomorrow. So let's jump in. So here we go. Lesson 9, number 10. 10 talks about or. 11 talks about and. So let's talk about or first. Or is the thing that is covered with the we call them railroad tracks. That's why I call them, but I think other people do too. It's like the two lines. It's kind of hard to type. It's the, let's see, can I bring up a keyboard? This is dumb. What am I doing? All right, let's see if this works. Oh, this kind of works. I think you can see my cursor. If you can't, this is useless. But if you can, it's this key. It's right above return and right below delete. So shift plus that key, the backslash, is how you make the railroad track sign if you're typing. If you're not typing, it's no big deal. You can just drag it from here. The and sign you get from doing, it's the ampersand, that's what it's called. It's shift 7, gives you that character. Cool, so this is a truth table. We would spend more time talking about this if we were preparing for the AP exam. Instead, it's not too difficult to see. It's if the first thing is true and the second thing's true, well, true or true gets you true. And then as we had talked about, as long as one of the two things is true for an or statement, true or false, my name is Mr. Grant Knight, or we live on the moon, that's still true because my name is Mr. Grant Knight. And so or is only false if both things are false. That's what this table sort of summarizes. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. So add a Boolean expression. Okay, so that's something that gets me a true thing, true or false. Give me a Boolean expression to the if statement to use or to express if it's Saturday or Sunday, then write it's the weekend, else can't wait for the weekend to get here. That's a mood and a half. Okay, so I'm going to use or. I'm going to put that in here. I have day. And I'm going to assume that they're typing the day out fully. So I have to check if it's Saturday or Sunday means if the day is equal to Saturday. Remember, double equals to compare. Or do not do this. This is wrong. This is incorrect. This logic does not work. Of day is it doesn't work as day is Saturday or Sunday. You can even see like the little indents, like how the layers of it. If we try to run this and I try to enter a day of the week and I say like Monday, it's the weekend. What? No, it's not. It's Monday. That's because it doesn't know how to read this, and the computer just messes up. Instead, you have to think slower and like what a computer is actually checking. If the day is equal to Saturday, or the day is equal to Sunday. Now, if I run that same thing again, can't wait for the weekend, mood. But if I check the other ones, it's the weekend. And if I check the other one, it's the weekend. This is pretty, we can check our work for this stuff. So that's how you set it up here. If I click off, it makes the other things. So you can drag in the equal to. You noticed I just typed it because I'm lazy. And you can be too, as long as you don't make a mistake on it. Here's the truth table for and. Notice and requires both things to be true in order to get a true statement. It's not enough to say, my name is Mr. Grant Knight and we live on the moon. That's false. It doesn't matter that my name is Mr. Grant Knight. Both things have to be true. So here we have practice translating this kind of thing that we've actually done before. The age is between 13 and 19. You are a teenager. Well, what does between 13 and 19 mean? This actually gets covered in algebra a lot, but you need to satisfy two things. My age needs to be between, I assume this means, just because of the logic, between's a little tricky because I assume it means including 13. It's a little confusing, but so if it's between 13 and 19, my age is greater than or equal to 13, and has to be and, can't just be or, and my age is less than or equal to 19. And we can test it. 12, not a teenager. 15, teenager. 20, not a teenager. You should be able to check those or check any age that's not and find that it works. If you don't quite understand why the and, or if you don't quite believe me, feel free to try it. Like try the or version of it and see that it doesn't work. Like if it were age is greater than equal to 13 or less than or equal to 19. But we also talked about that on the Friday session. And people had some good ideas on it. So those are the basics of how you use and or. They can get more complicated. Like, this is gross. This is disgusting. But it's kind of like what we did on Friday, just grosser. And then here's how, this is kind of like how we evaluated it together. We turned them slowly into false and true statements, working inside parentheses. This one happened to work like a left side first and then a right side, and then compare them in the end. This is actually a pretty interesting diagram. I normally skip these, but this one's actually pretty useful because it shows the same thing we did of turning statements into true or false and then comparing them. So like the day that first they checked is the day Tuesday. Nope. In this scenario, it's Wednesday. So that becomes false. Is the day Thursday? Nope, it's Wednesday. So that becomes false. False or false gets you false. And then this piece is done. Over here, age is greater than or equal to 21. Greater than or equal to 13. So the age is 21. Is that greater than or equal to 13? True. So that part's true. Is it less than 21? No, false. True and false gets you something false. Because for and, both have to be true. And then false or false gets you false. So this is how you evaluate something complex like this. This would be as complicated as it gets if we saw it on a quiz. There will be something like this where I'll give you a situation and a statement like this one. There could have a not in it, but if there is a not in it, I would make it easier to read. So there would be at most one, I think this is a fair thing. Yeah, I'm going to say this right now. There's at most 3 different logical things. So there's the or, and. There could be like an or and not. There won't be, but there could be not. That'd be pretty dumb. But yeah, that's as complicated as it gets. So let's see how we put it into practice in a more complicated case. So what they want us to do, they've got this complex thing. They want if the day is Tuesday or Thursday and your age is either 15 or 16. The parentheses are pretty important to help group things, just like they are in algebra. So we want to, okay, interesting. So here we go. So they're setting up starting code. They could ask for a day and an age, and then they write it to the screen, and then they have space for you to write your own code. And what they want you to do is write an if statement that uses both and or. The goal for this, based on this, it should say sleep in if it's the weekend and they are a teenager. Otherwise, it should say, uh-oh, have to wake up. So if we think about this, I'm probably going to crash my computer right now. Shouldn't have done this. Let's see if it doesn't crash it. So you have like the 2 things. It's basically if we have weekend and teenager. So you need something. How do we check if it's a weekend? And something to check if it's a teenager. Well, we just did both of those things in 10 and 11. This is done in number 10. This is done in number 11. I think you have enough knowledge to fill in the rest. And we can talk about it in office hours if you don't. So that's the advice I have for you. We have an otherwise. So it's an if else. And then in this spot, you fill in that logic that we just started. Weekend and teenager. Moving swiftly ahead. Cool, we got ourselves museum price calculator. That's something that would be useful outside the apocalypse. All right, so they got everything set up except the Boolean expression in the if statement is incomplete. Oh no. Right now it just says age is less than 21, but that's not going to work for us. So you get, just looking at this code, they get the day from this dropdown, the day dropdown, and if they get the age from the age dropdown. Easy to read. So right now, it doesn't care about what day of the week it is. So if I say my age is 8, calculate, you get a discount. But if I say that my age is 58, you must pay the full price. However, the discount's only supposed to work on Tuesdays or Thursdays. And it's only supposed to work for teenagers. If you're a 6-year-old, you're not supposed to get the discount. You're supposed to pay full price, like all 6-year-olds should. So it's the same type of thing. They break this down for you. You need to turn this and put this inside the if statement. That's actually your Google question to start. I even put a comma to help break it apart. Assuming we have age and day, translate this into the code you would put inside of that if statement. That's where you're going to submit to Google Classroom. Yeah, so I would like you to use the symbols. I would like you to use like the railroad tracks, and if you have to use and, the and sign. I don't think you have to use not at all. And put the answer to the Google question inside of here. There's no need to change. You don't change anything else here. It does advise maybe text mode is easier. If you think text mode is easier, go for it. If you think it's easier to type in the stuff, go for it. But once you turn it into text, you can't really turn it back. You have to put something. This is not the correct answer. Cool. 15 is a little tricky, but it's the same idea. This one just throws in not into there. So this example here talks through how you might use not, and not throwing it in front. So it's really a key case is actually like when you want to talk about a weekday, this is the best time to use not, is talking about a weekday. Because it's really tedious to say if it's Monday or Tuesday, or day is Tuesday, or day is Wednesday, or day is Thursday, or day is Friday. It's better to say day is not Saturday or Sunday. That is easier to say than everything else. So it's easier to say, what is the weekday? Well, it's just not the weekend. So find what it would be for weekend and set that up. So I will show you a little bit. This is just part of this. This is a complicated one. It's weekday and under 18. I think you can handle the under 18 part. I'm just going to demonstrate how you might do weekday. By all means, pause this video and try it yourself if you think you know how. Or just stop watching. I showed you the Google question. But to say the weekday is the same thing as saying not the weekend. How do I do that? Not, and then I have to figure out how to do weekend. Well, that's an or, and that's day is equal to Saturday, or day is equal to Sunday. So this is the code for the weekend, or the weekday, because you have a weekend, which is this stuff, and then you have not the weekend, which is a weekday. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. Office hours. Yeah, office hours. You can do it. That's all for today. Try it out. 15 is a little tricky, but you can get it. And the only thing on Wednesday will be a quiz. Thursday and Friday is not normal classes, I think. I'm waiting to hear from administration to hear what we're doing those days. But yeah, so we'll be done with our stuff for on Wednesday.